and welcome at the Giggles to Gold. And today we have a very nice lady, and she's very special actually, because she's not only thinking and talking to other people and in her head, but she's talking to the angels, and she's working with the angels. And since I'm a fair believer of angels and work, I love to talk to you, Sally Ann of Heaven's Light Wellness. But let me introduce you first, a really nice bio, because she has over 4 decades of dedicated practice already, and she brings a wealth of experience to the realm of holistic healing. And as a guardian angel communicator, clairvoyant, that's psychic medium, seasoned Reiki master, and intuitive life coach, she has guided countless individuals on their transformative journeys towards self discovery and well being. And she's doing that international even. She offers intuitive angel reading and Reiki energy healing, so it can offer insights and support along the way. And her unique ability to connect with animals, particularly horses, dogs, and cats, adds a special dimension to my practice. And I really think that is very, very special. I do not hear that often. So additionally, she offers specialized services in home and business clearing, which ensures spaces are energetically balanced and revitalized, which welcomes better focus, calmer living, and potential buyers. Don't we all want that all? She has several publications, empowerment through gratitude journal, vision board manifestation in 5 steps, and empowerment angel cards. And she really wants to invite people to sign up for the newsletter and blog that she's having, and that one is a great one, and to join her on social media. And I can really, really recommend that because she's giving great information there. So, Sally Ann, was that a good one?
That was awesome. Thank you.
I love that. I love really that the working. I said we had a little chat before, the working with the angels. I really believe in that, and I have sometimes the angels talk to me, and a lot of people go like, "Ugh, all this woo woo wow wow." How is that for you? If people go with that, like, the stupid, and so on.
You know why, Carla? I mean, I've been doing this for so long, and it really hit me when I was in my 20s. And so I'm much older than 20 now. And I think the thing that I've learned is I'm not here to convince anyone that there's angels or convince anyone that there's a higher source, universe, God, whatever you believe. I'm here to help you reach them and to talk to your guardian angels. But I'm not sure that my mantle is you need to believe, because I think that I can prove it, but I don't think I need to push it on anyone. And it's ironic because really I have clients that come to me because they've gotten my card from 5 different people that don't know each other, or they saw me and they said, oh my gosh, you're speaking to me and I need to see you. You've come just at that point in my life when I needed you.
Yes.
And we all have like these beautiful, I call them angel whispers, when something walks into our life because they're supposed to. So the world needs more people like me. And I've just kind of stepped into that place knowing that there's a lot of yin and yang in the world, right? So if I can help calm people's anxiety or feel unstuck and give them the messages that they need to give that are not Sally Ann's messages, but through, Heaven's Light Wellness, through their angel messages, then man, I am living my life's work. I'm living my dream. So
there you go. There, and I think that's really a great example, Sally Ann, for a lot of entrepreneurs. Don't listen to what other people say. You will get the people on your path that belong to you. And there are tons of people, thousands of people that basically belong to your path. And as soon as we want to convince somebody, they're basically out of the door anyway. So, and I meet that because I work with the quantum technology, and a lot of people are like, wait a minute, what? You can do that online? What? And so I never convince people either. I really trust to get the people on my path who really want to work with that, who believe in that. And that's basically what you were saying too. You are getting those people anyway. They're reaching out to you. And well, I think in this case, there's not even just thousands. I think there are millions out there that really believe in angels and everything. So really, really great. I didn't mention how we met each other. And that was via our book from Jim Britt, sorry,
Okay.
Jim Britt. And tell me a little bit about your story in the book from Jim Britt, the series.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's endorsed by Tony Robbins, who I'm a big fan of his and his messaging. And so I was introduced to Jim through Manny Lopez. Wound up having like a 2.5 hour conversation with Jim, and really resonated with who he was and what his mission is, and some similar thoughts. And
Yeah, great guy.
such a nice man, right? I'm like, oh my, we have to be like best friends. I need to go to California and hang out with you now. And so was invited to be part of the book. And really, it's a it's like a thought process over the last 8 years. So it's my story, which started 40 years ago, when I realized I had this gift. And sometimes when gifts come to us, we don't realize they're gifts. And I actually thought I was like going crazy.
Yeah,
I was with some
believe that.
friends, and when something different hits, you just don't know. And I was out with friends, and I was looking at somebody across a restaurant, and he was standing in a very odd position, is what I would say. Like, I don't remember, like he was leaning strange, something that Sally Ann would never do. And I remember I just felt, Carla, I felt so sad and so despondent. And I knew that's not how I felt. Like, I loved where I was at that time in my life. I loved my friends. I did not understand these emotions that were coming in. And back at the, before cell phones. So I had to run home, and I called my mother, and I said, because I was in college, I said, you need to come pick me up because I think I'm having a nervous breakdown.
Oh gosh.
Really, I was
heavy.
like, I didn't know where this was coming from. And so she said, tell me what's going on. So I explained to her, and my mother, we are from New York, and my mother is very straight to the point. And so she was like, ugh, you're fine. You're just psychic. And I was like, I'm what? What are you talking about? Right? Because like,
he didn't even know what it was, sounds like.
I never heard the word. Like, the word was never used in my house. However, you all have your own life experience. So I was like, again, I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, baby, that's just how we are in our family. And yes, I think about it. My grandmother she lived next door to us, and she would come over and say, I had a dream and this happened to you, so do this. And so sure enough, 3 days later, it happens. And of course, I don't do what my grandmother tells me to do. And she smacks me on the head and she says, don't do that again. And next week, she has another dream about something that happens, and I do what she tells me to do. And, it's just like part of life. My mother used to answer the phone and know who was on the phone before caller ID. So it was just part of my life. I didn't know the rest of the world didn't live like that. So when it had category and name, it kind of surprised me, especially back then. Talking about like the early 80s, like psychic, what the heck is that? That's people that like are
You're kind of crazy, huh?
Right. Yeah. So really, I went into training within 2 months of that experience, and have been so blessed with seeing my guardian angels and understanding messages. And they teach me a different way of life, a different path, like something really beautiful. And so in the book, it talks about that experience, how I started, why my number is 13 is my magic number for me and my family. And then it goes into a program I call the empowerment approach. And especially the last like 8 years, I really feel like anxiety is off the chain for all age groups, right? For
Yeah.
millennials, for our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, our 60s. Like anxiety is this massive epidemic, and being paralyzed from it and not feeling empowered in life. And there's a lot of things happening in the world that take our power away, Carla.
Yes.
And it's not okay. We need to give permission to people to say, you have permission to live your best life. You have permission to understand what's right for you.
You even have permission to take in space in this world.
Exactly. Which, oh my gosh, it just gave me goosebumps because it's so sad to think about that. But yes, you are right. Some people don't understand that they have the power to be here and deserve to be here. And so after these last 8 years, I've gotten like 4 techniques on how to empower yourself. And they just keep coming up, and I started writing them down. And so I created this program called the Empowerment Approach. And that's something I talk about in the book. So to lead to the workbook, the other book that's coming out in a couple months. So it'll be more detailed. But yeah, so blessed to be part of that, and also get to meet you. It was awesome.
There you go. Hey, that's how we meet each other, networking, everything, and just be in a book and yeah, have networking programs with that, because that's what Jim does really well. Every month is networking moments. So I love that. So I want to go back to a little bit what you said before, that how your mom responded to you. And the fact that she was so open for that. A lot of people, when kids would say something like that, they would say like, oh, just act normal. I remember when my daughter was very young, she had these 2 playful mates, and I couldn't see them, but they were there. Even if I would wanted to close the door, she would say, no, mom, Con still have to come in. So I really took it very serious. We talked about it a lot. I even played with them, even though I couldn't see them. And that really gave her the realization it could be there. But there's so many people who are really saying like, act normal, and we are not helping our kids with that. So I'm so glad that you can give here an example what it does if that's the reaction you get, and that's then the help you got. That's how you could develop basically yourself in this part. So I
Yeah.
really would recommend all moms and dads, please, if your kid is kind of like acting weird in your eyes, talking to whatever you don't see, accept it. They see it. It's real for them.
Carla, I have to tell you, that is like my number one thing I say all the time. Don't gaslight your kids, right? Because they know truth. I will
Yes.
trust a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old over an adult any day of the week. And here's a really interesting thing that specifically to your story, and this is what I've seen and felt and know. And it's interesting because both of my children, about the same age, about that 3 or 4-year-old time, have both said to me, unbeknownst to each other, not with no one around, but they have both looked at me in the face and said, Mommy, I'm so glad I picked you. And
Wow.
I really believe that. I believe that
Yes.
pick the life we want to come into. And
Yeah.
sometimes, yes, we pick a difficult life to help somebody else. That doesn't mean your life has to be difficult. It's also for you to learn. But something really interesting about children and what I've learned through communicating with angels and seeing children is those invisible friends are just their guardian angels that they see,
Yes.
right? We become too human, I guess is how I phrase it.
Yeah.
Age of like between 7 and 9. And at 7 and 9, because of all those earthly influences, we have a tendency to forget heaven. And then we don't see, like, we need proof. And so we don't see our guardian angels anymore. They're there. They're never going to leave you. They've come in with you. They're going out with you. They're going to help you through your whole life. But when they're little, like your kids were, and they saw, and your daughter saw her guardian angels and interacted with them, absolutely. I actually have physical proof. I have photos of spirit with small children, because it's amazing. People have sent it to me, and not just orbs, but you can actually see a shape.
Yeah.
That's what those guardian angels are there. They're entertaining our children. They're helping them learn and grow. And then, like I said, between 7 and 9, they start to forget heaven, and the angels are still with them. But you'll see, like that 7 to 10 time, that's when kids have a hard time with abandonment, because all of a sudden they can't see their best friend anymore. They've
Yep.
been told their best friend doesn't exist, right? Which they know it does. They know they can feel them. They know they can see them, but they may not be as present. And so, our children go through transition at that time when they're still there. So, oh my God, it's the most amazing thing to know that these children have their guardian angels. And I have to tell you, it really goes across all lines, right? Like,
Yes, it
the
does.
Catholic religion now says that 7 is the age of reason. Is it because just on the cusp of when they forget heaven? I know I have some friends that live in Ireland, and they're like, oh no, we know 7 is when they mature, is what they call them.
Yeah.
So
There's a change, big change. Yep.
yeah, and that's because they become too human, right? It's not a bad thing. It's just a change. It's just a new chapter in their life. And it's not a bad thing if your parents and the people around you love and support you and say, yes, I believe that George is with you. I believe that Alessandra is with you, and that you see and feel them. It's so
Yes.
important.
Yep.
I love.
So yeah, being supportive is so important. Yeah, because that's always where my heart goes. It's why I'm really loving mompreneurs, so I can work with their kids indirectly on a lot of things, and like, yeah, be supportive, understand your kid, be there, listen, even if you don't understand it, still go for it. So very, very important. And that is also, I think, one of the things that will empower somebody. If we from scratch, so when they're very, very small, we believe them in those things, we support them in there, I really think we empower them. It's a base for empowerment. How do you look at that?
I absolutely think so, because empowerment really comes from inside. But in today's world, a lot of us look for those affirmations from outside of us. And so I do think empowerment starts with that early journey, for your insides, the strength that you have inside, how you can find the strength in your life, the gratitude in your life, how you can recognize that. Because, um, for some of us, we're very, very blessed, but there are others that, even if they're in the same socioeconomical class as you, they may not feel so blessed because of things that have happened in their life or the doors they have chosen not to walk through. That's like a big self-awareness thing for me. I'm like, the doors show up, right? And if it's, when they say, if when one door opens, when one door closes, another one opens, and if not, look for the open window, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are different
There's
places.
always another opportunity. Basically, that's what it comes down to.
Exactly. So it's empowering yourself to have the strength to walk through that window, walk out the door, climb through the window. It's saying, okay, I am confident. I understand I can do this, even if it's going to be hard, right?
Yes.
Because with growth, growth is not comfortable. No one
Not
floats
always. No, not always.
and grows, right? So you have to empower yourself, understand who you are on the inside, have gratitude, and then also and then process it differently. How do I process the things that the world gives to me, right?
Yeah.
I process if someone throws some ick at me. Sometimes I call it T-Rex arms. So if I put my arms and I rest them, they're right here. And this is the center of your body, right? It's your heart chakra. Everything comes in here. So if I'm resting and I have my T-Rex arms and someone says something not kind to me, or here's this great example. You know, when you're driving on the road, some person zooms past you and they honk, they flip you off, they aren't kind. What's the first thing we all say? What did I do? What did I do? Oh my gosh, what did I do? The reality is you didn't do anything, right? We gaslight ourselves. We take that responsibility. You didn't do anything. That person may have thrown something icky at you, but the reality is, and if you process it, right, you have the ick and you look at it and you say, this doesn't belong to me, right?
Yes,
this is
exactly.
that person's life and the drama or trauma that they're living through. And so you kind of have to take it and say, okay, I'm not shoving it in my body because it doesn't belong to me.
There you go.
Put it over here. But one of the nice things about processing with your T-Rex arms and looking at it is that then you can say, oh my gosh, I say a prayer for them. They must be really having a hard day, right? Like when someone drives really fast by me and oh my God, they love to drive fast here. I'm like, I literally send them some energy and a little prayer and I say, please get there. Don't hurt yourself or somebody else, right? Because you know they're not thinking clearly. They're in a rush. Something's happening. Hopefully it's something beautiful and wonderful, like a baby's being born, but you know, it's not always that case.
Yep.
So you have to process what happens around you to understand it's not yours. And then that makes you stronger because you're not weighed down.
I totally agree with this. And what I see, though, around me a lot is that most people, especially when I walk on the streets or something, I see that they are a lot of times not even aware of their environment. Let's say that they are open if somebody snacks something or something, that they're open to think the way you just said, like, hey, think of the fact that the other person has a hard time and just say basically sort of sorry for them. That is, how do you look at that? Because that is really what I encounter a lot, that people bump into each other. They're definitely not aware of that there's a space around them, that if they are open for that and feel it, they would really also realize when somebody comes into that space, they are open to receive information from another person without having to talk. I mean, it would make life a lot nicer also, because now we take it like onto ourselves when something happens, although it has nothing to do with us. So,
Right.
but that there is no sort of connection. We're not open anymore. So, what's your opinion on that?
You know, I agree. I think that, and one of the things I like to say is we need to remove the noise in our life. And that it could be anything. Noise could be anything, right? It could be your house has too much stuff in it. I always say, oh, my stuff's talking to me. I have to go on vacation because my house is talking to me, right there. The laundry, the bills are piled up, the filing needs to be done. And so we need to remove the noise, right? Like I love my phone. It is my tool. It's my moving computer. I talk on the phone all the time. I'm texting, I'm checking emails, I'm doing social media posts, all on this little computer. That's my phone. But I need to take a break. I need to turn that off. I need to say between these hours, and I do, I turn my phone on, do not disturb, or I have to focus. So I'm going to spend an hour processing something else or taking care of myself. I'm going to sit in a bathtub for 20 minutes. And so that's how I remove the noise, right? Because
Yes, great.
while I would love to say, go sit in meditation, meditation isn't for everyone, and meditation can be different, right? Like
It's
I love to,
totally.
right? So I used to, when I was in the corporate world for many, many years, I would literally be so stressed out. I'd be like, I'll be right back. And I'd leave the building. I'd take off my heels. There was one patch of grass, and I would literally walk around this patch of grass without my shoes, just breathing, right? I'd be like, okay, I probably got like 100,000 like strange looks because here I am
Who
walking
cares?
circles without shoes. I'd put my heels back on. I'd walk back into the space, back into the office. I was able to manage what I needed to manage because I lowered the noise. Really,
Yes.
my vibration, I grounded, I became more connected to where I need to be. Like if you want to talk in those woo woo words, that's what I did. Clearly, I changed my vibration. But people need to give themselves permission to do that, right? Like people don't give themselves, they feel like they have
Yes.
to sit at that desk and they got to get it done instead of get up, go take a cup of coffee, go look at a friend, go call someone. You have to remove the noise in your life so you can be present, so you can live a life, right? Because someone may walk past you and love your earrings or love your rings or your blue nails, right? They may not be present enough to enjoy that.
Yeah.
They may say, oh my gosh, look, that woman, look at Carla. My gosh, I love her nails. I love the energy around her. Right. And so when you're in your own little bubble,
You
it's
know.
hard to breathe. And
Yep.
if it's hard to breathe, it's hard to be aware of everything else around
Totally. Totally. Yeah, that's what I really, I mean, I'm a burnout coach and I teach them heart coherence. And whenever they really start using that in their workspace, then I I mean they can do that while working even, but I really say like you just sit there, maybe just stare, do it for 1, 2 minutes, and that really will help a lot also. And they realize more and more when they start doing that how much stress there is during the
it.
day that they never knew before. So that is like, yeah, that vibration goes up and people are not even realizing it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I'm glad stress can be measured. So that's where people can see the difference between what they feel and what's actually there. And that really, it goes even beyond the screen. That difference is that big. And so I love it that you say we need to change that vibration. We need to change how we feel and what's going on inside, so we can actually focus again, feel great again, be better in the relationship with our team or whoever is in front of us. So important that that happens.
It's so funny. So you say be better for our team. I used to set my alarm. It was 2:30 every single day. And it was my breathe alarm. And it had a very like twinkly type of alarm. And if my phone was with me and I was in a meeting at 2:30, it would go off. If I was somewhere else and it would sit in my office, it would go off. And everybody in the office, so there's probably 10 of us, after a while, we all understood it was time to breathe. Because first people are like, what is that? I'm like, oh, that's my breathe alarm. I need to take a breath, right? Because you just need
Yes.
to remember to take a breath and lower your vibration. And so ironically, the whole team looked forward to that 2:30 alarm.
Isn't it something?
We're gonna breathe. I'm like, yep, we're all gonna breathe, right? So
I
even
love
small can really make a big impact on people.
Yeah, I love it because a lot of people, my clients, if I tell them, just go ahead, do that on your work too, because they're like, yeah, but then people will see me, etc., and they will see the sensor and blah blah, and they ask questions. They say, yeah, right, they ask questions, and if you tell them you're just an example for them, they a lot of times don't even realize it. So you might even help them out by doing that. And it's
right?
all about taking your space, because that's one of the things that I see coming out of my scan, literally in Word, not daring to take space. That's really one that I see that one coming out a lot with people. And then I really encourage them, take that space. It's your life. It's like 2, 3 minutes for you. You need to take that and simply be an example. So I love the example you just give, that if one does it and just keeps doing it and be normal about it and encourages, a whole team can start doing that. I love this example. I'm going to use it.
Good, use it. Yeah, it works. It's so cool. So, and the interesting thing that you say about like taking up spaces, um, and this is one of the other tips, is I call it a sliding scale of priority. Because we make these decisions all day long, really quick. So if I ever was to tell a client or my daughter or someone, you really need to take some time for yourself. People are like, I don't have time to do that, right? I have this report due or this meeting, or I have to get the kids here, I have to make dinner or whatever. So we don't take time for ourselves. And what I want to say is we all have time. It's just a sliding scale of priority, right? So if I'm heading up a meeting, at that moment, my priority scale is to be a great employee, to be a great employer, right? And my scale for self care may be way lower, right? I'm
Yes.
taking care of myself because I'm doing a good job. So I'm keeping my job. And so I'm taking care of that part. But like my kid component is way lower. But then if I decide to listen to your podcast, if I'm listening to Giggles to Gold show, my self care priority is higher. Even if I'm only listening for 45 minutes, for 45 minutes or 10 minutes or
Yes.
50, all of a sudden my priority for myself goes high and other things go low because it all can't be up here, especially maybe it's for women in the era I was brought up in, but we can have it all, just not all at the same time. Who the heck wants that? Right? How do you be present and enjoy everything if everything is here? So you can have everything. Just realize that it's a scale and it's going to move, and you're going to be able to have self-love and relationships and be a kick ass at your job and love your life and have charitable components and care for your kids. They're just going to move up and down throughout the day. And if you become aware
Yes.
of that and you're self-aware, right? Because you've processed with your T-Rex or you've gotten gratitude, the rest is easy. You're giving yourself permission to be present, to be here, to be a great employee at this moment, and then to take care of yourself and to be a good partner if that's one of your lists. So it just this perspective of keeping your life, and I don't really think it's in balance. I think it's a scale of balance that changes every
Well, that's
every
also a kind of balance. I think the
yeah.
balance in that is that we regularly do it
Mm-hmm.
instead of never do it or overdo it. Like a few people will overdo it. They're only me and my time and my thing. So
Mm-hmm.
that happens too. So, but I think knowing that throughout the day, throughout your life, then this part is there more, then that part is there more, and that difference is all the time. As long as you can let them in, I really am a strong believer that if you let them in and be open for what encounters in your life, then it will balance out, because you will get this part because that's the part you need at this moment, and you will get that part at another moment because then you need that the most, because we are in different moments and different energies and different situations, so we do need those different things. And as long as you're open to receive it at that moment, I think that is also a balance. At least
Mhm.
that's how I look at it.
Yep, I agree too. It's not a seesaw.
No,
It's just a
sure.
life balance, right?
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you hope it's not this or this. It's like right here.
Yep, there you go. And life is going like that. So as long as it goes up all the time again, I always
Exactly.
told I always told my kids when they were small, when there's not a downside, you never know there's also an upside.
Agreed. 100%.
So yep. So and we always love the upside, and we love we learn from the downside to have a better upside.
Right?
So
Like here it comes. Okay.
there you go. So be open for that as well. Tell me a little bit more, because you have angel cards. I mean, I was with my daughter last week in downtown, and we have this really great spiritual shop there. Lots of cards that you can get. And she bought her kind of cards. So I love them. And I know that your angel cards are about empowerment messages. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, they I really do call them angel cards. They're not tarot. They are positive affirmation cards. Um and so funny story, right? Like 8 years ago, I said, how do I duplicate myself? How do I reach 10 million people and help them at the moment? How do they live their best lives, right? Like, how do I do that? So I thought, I'm going to create this deck of cards that will feel your energy and give you the answers that you need. So the deck of cards I produced, you actually shuffle them and you ask your guardian angels to give you a message that you need to hear today. I get texts all the time that, oh my gosh, it's exactly what I needed to hear. So what the cards do is they give you boosts, confirmation, and things that you do need to hear that day. Like, I wish I had the deck with me right now. It's in the other room, but like, oh my gosh, I can't even think. And this is why I have to tell you. So there's 64 individual messages. So when I first thought about doing this, I was collecting all these thoughts and tidbits, and I put them on my phone in notes. And one day I said, oh, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to type them all up. Then I'm going to lay out these cards, and I can't wait to get them. So I put them all on Word on the document, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these don't resonate with me. I don't like any of them. Delete. I'm like, 2 months worth of collecting, I deleted. I said, this is not right. I can't do it. Well, about 3 days later, I woke up, and we'll talk about like when you wake up and go to sleep. So, but I woke up and I thought, oh, I have to go to a computer. And I sat down the computer, and my fingers just started to go. 64 beautiful messages came out, and I know they came from heaven. I know that my angels made me write these down. And that's why it's kind of hard for me to remember them, because it wasn't my thought. I just kind
Yep.
of brought in. And I know when I pull them, I go, oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. And then I shuffle them back in my deck, clear my deck, put them in the sun, and they get to, enjoy the next moment or the next person that uses them. So there's 64 individual messages. They're really positive affirmations. So it's something your angels want you to hear that resonate with what you need today.
Right.
I typically pull one. I have a couple of clients, they love to pull three. I was like, there's no really rules. What do
Sure.
you need? So yeah, they have, and all the artwork on the front. So I think right now there's 5 or 6 different decks of cards. It's the messages on the the angel messages are the same. It's the artwork that's on the front that's different. And it's either a local artist that I know and love,
Nice.
or another artist that actually she is legally blind. She has macular degeneration, so she can only
Yeah.
see a, and she does these beautiful religious, so there's lots of angels that she does, and she paints them small, and then she'll take a picture of it with her phone, and then she expands for every little corner, and she'll say, oh, I need a little white there. Then she'll go in and do a little white. Her
Wow.
technique and process is amazing, and the beauty that comes out of her dedication and her hands, I'm just like so honored that she lets me utilize these for angel messages. So yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, so everything
Great.
is wellness.
Yeah, and
That's
I love it because I mean, it was years and years ago. We were with a whole group of people, and there were all these different card decks laying there. And one person said, like, I really don't believe in this. This is so stupid. It's all coincidence, etc. So we just encouraged him, like, just pick a card and see if something resonates. If not, it's not. So that's also okay. You never can tell what card he would get. It was the card with the explanation. There is no coincidence. The cards are telling you this and that. And we all were looking at that, like, was like, no way.
funny. I love
That was
that.
the moment that this guy was kind of like, so he was still like doubting, but he also was like, something must be in here.
Oh my God.
So, yep, great. Hey, Sally Ann, I know you have a great giveaway.
Yes. So I'm a Reiki master, and I've been working with energy for 40 years. I also teach Reiki classes and attunements. And so a lot of times, as some of you might know, some of the people listening might know, is that Reiki are I'm going to say the 7 main energy centers of your body. And they control emotional and physical health. Well, when emotionally you're not well, it manifests itself physically, right? Because there are 2 funnels that work together that help our centers go. If you hurt yourself physically, typically you're not well emotionally. And so, I encourage people to find a Reiki practitioner, find a Reiki master they trust. Of course, I would love if you called me, and because I do this over the phone as well. And it's amazing because you will feel the tingles and the heat. It's just amazing, even over the phone. But find someone you trust and love. Now, in between those moments, when you can find that person, a lot of people say, well, how do I fix myself, right? How can I help myself in that situation? So I created a chart, which you can download for free. And
Underneath the video is the link.
Great, thank you. Yes. And so it's the 7 chakras kind of made out into a simple format. So it's the color for the 7 chakras, it's the Sanskrit symbol, it's the music note that works for that. Like if you've ever seen anybody do crystal bowls, which I also do. So it's that tone, it's the element that works for that chakra as well. And then the most important thing, I think, is on the right-hand side, there are 7 statements that empower each one of your energy centers. So how I use it is because not everybody knows what all the centers of the chakras do, right? So
sure.
7 chakras, 7 days of the week. I actually printed a small version of it, and it's in my medicine cabinet. So when I open my medicine cabinet and go to brush my teeth in the morning, I get to spend 2 minutes for myself. I get to spend 2 minutes of healing myself. And so you can do 7 days of the week, 7 chakras. Sunday, you're going to go with root, which is number 1, or you can go with crown. I like to do crown because It's God's day, so I work on my crown chakra. And so you're going to repeat the words that are you're going to repeat the sentences that are on the right-hand side. Now, as you go through those 5 or 7 statements that say, I am powerful beyond belief, I am strong, I believe in myself, I am enough, I am whatever in that category, you may say those 7 and say, I feel strong in it, and I feel strong. I don't think I feel strong today. Okay, I'm going to repeat, I feel strong, I feel strong, I feel strong, like 8 or 10 times. So this way, that energy will go to the center of where you need, right? Because you're going to know. You're going to be able to read those statements and say, yep, ooh, maybe not this one. Okay, I'm going to work on that one. And so then you can energy into that center, and you can keep the flow going. So this way you can live balanced. I mean, no one's going to be 100% balanced 100% of the time. I say maybe the monks in the Himalayas that are sitting there and that's all they're doing. But when we're in the atmospheres that we're in, things happen. So to have like a chakra off is not a bad thing. It just means you're living life. you're just gonna fix it. It's like being thirsty. It's not a bad thing that you're thirsty. Drink more water. Your body's telling you something. Same thing.
Yep.
So there's this beautiful chart that has been fine-tuned and brought in, and that's what we'd love to gift everyone of your listeners, so this way they have that power to help themselves or help others. Like, tell that to your children when they go to sleep at night. And I used to give Reiki to my kids every night when they went to sleep. So while you may not have healing hands at the moment, everybody can learn it, but you can teach them these statements. So this way they feel powerful from the inside. They're seen.
I love that.
All the things that like you talk about, right? It's how do we make life better? Know that we're better. Give ourselves the
I love it. I love it. I am actually going to ask you permission that if I have my clients, because when I do the scan, I actually can also look in the scan, search for it, which chakra is out of balance. And I can give them that chakra PDF from you, if that's okay from you.
I would be honored. I mean, that's what community is all about, right? Like that's together is to help each other and to help the humans in this world. I would be honored if you would use my chart. Thank you.
I think that would really help them out with that. So I love that. So good idea. Thank you, well. Thank you, well. That's half Dutch, half English. Okay. Dank je wel. That's the Dutch word for thank you.
I'll take it.
There you go. Well, Sally-Ann, if there's one huge tip, the best tip you could give to the listeners, what would that be? Yeah, surprise question.
I would say yourself. I'd
Say
say
it's again?
I would say that to trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
The hardest thing to do and the strongest thing to do. So trust yourself. So this way you can be an example, but know yourself, know your core. Don't double guess yourself. Know this, because you are a loving being that were brought into this world for yourself and for others. Remember that. Remember that you're loved. That's something I end all of my messages with. Remember that you're loved. So
I really love this one. And so people take it at heart. It's a great message that you can really use and take with you every day. And very important, because when you trust yourself, and that's something that gets out of the scan too, a lot of people don't trust themselves. So it really can empower your life. Okay, Sally-Ann, I really, really want to thank you for this great, great talk that we both had. I feel really inspired by everything you told us. And I just love the angels. So I was very glad that I could learn a little bit more again about it via you. So yeah, thank you very much for that.
You.
I bless you. And for all the listeners, well, this was another nice, great podcast. And I really go for the fact that you are taking this information in, and that each time you learn more and more to make your life a lot happier and have more fun. See you all next time again. Bye.